Hi, I'm Melissa Davis, and welcome to Hello Prime Life, where midlife isn't a crisis, it's your comeback. Monday morning, 7:14am. You're already behind and the day hasn't even properly started. By 9am, you're firefighting 3 things that weren't even on your list. By 11, you've completely forgotten the one thing you told yourself was the priority for today. And that's basically how the whole week goes. Reacting, patching, keeping the wheels on, while the stuff that actually mattered to you gets shoved into whatever gap is left over, if there's a gap left over. Friday rolls around and you're wrecked, properly wrecked. And if someone asks what you got done this week, you go blank. Not because you didn't do anything, you did 100 things, just none of the ones you actually meant to. It's a bit like that old saying that sums up more weeks than I like to admit. The hurrieder I go, the behinder I get. Then the weekend arrives, and instead of being something you actually live, it becomes triage, recovery time. A chance to lie horizontal and stare at the ceiling before Monday shows up and you get to do it all over again. If that sounds familiar, here's the thing I want you to notice. You're not tired because you're lazy, and you're not behind because you're disorganised. What if your weekly planner is actually the thing making you tired? Or worse, what if you've been designing your whole week backwards? Because there's one detail we tend to forget when we sit down and plan our week. We try to cram 80 hours of effort into 40 hours of daylight. We plan like we're machines with a fixed, unlimited output setting, like a little Energizer bunny. When really, we're human beings with fluctuating energy, attention, and capacity. Today, I'm showing you how to throw out traditional time management and redesign your week for energy, capacity, and an actual life, so you reach Friday with something left in your tank. Oh, and if you're new here, hit follow now so you don't miss next week's episode. Let's be honest about how most of us plan a week. Whether you actually sit down and map it out or just carry the plan around in your head, because who has time to write it down? Most of us are scheduling our days around an imaginary fantasy version of ourselves. You know the woman I'm talking about. She's the one who gets up at 5am, leaps straight into a workout, cooks whole food meals from scratch, smashes out complex strategy decks, clears her inbox by midday, reads a chapter of a book while she's having lunch, keeps a spotless house, and apparently never ever gets tired. That woman doesn't exist. Never has, never will. And then real-life Tuesday arrives. A rubbish night's sleep behind you, you're exhausted, your brain's running on fumes. An unexpected call comes in, and actual Tuesday you sits there staring at the schedule thinking, who the hell planned all this? Your week needs to be designed around your actual capacity, not your fantasy capacity. Your calendar is an energy management tool, not just a time management tool. So instead of, what do I need to get done this week? Try this. What kind of week would leave you feeling like you actually lived it, not just survived it? And specifically, how do you want to feel when you reach Friday afternoon? Energized? Accomplished? Satisfied? Or still capable of functioning like a normal human being? When you know how you want to feel at the end of the week and what would need to happen for you to feel that way, you can work backward and design your week for the Friday feeling. And here's the harder part. Redesigning your week might mean admitting, I can't do everything I used to do the way I used to do it and still feel good. The biggest mistake high performers make is treating every hour on their calendar as equal. An hour isn't an hour when your energy is different. Your sharpest hour of the day is a completely different animal to your foggiest one, even though the clock says they're both just an hour. Instead of constantly fretting about when do I have time, think of it like this instead. When do I have the right energy? To keep it simple, think of your day in 3 energy states. Number 1, sharp energy. High focus, heavy lifting, deep analytical or strategic thinking. Number 2, loose energy. Creative brainstorming, collaborative discussions or social connection. And number 3, low energy. Routine admin, clearing emails, logging expenses or tidying files. When are you naturally sharpest? When do you hit the wall? What have you got scheduled at completely the wrong time of day when you're least equipped to do it? For me, mornings are my sharp window. That's when the creative juices are flowing. So if I'm mapping out a new podcast episode or writing blog posts, tackling a strategy or anything that needs some heavy-duty brain power, it happens then. By early afternoon, I've shifted into loose mode. Great for jumping on calls, recording or talking through new ideas. But come about 4 p.m, I'm firmly in low territory, clearing my inbox, sorting my digital files, reordering coffee beans. The mundane stuff that requires zero deep thought. When you match the task to your energy state, everything takes half the effort. If you try to draft a tricky email during a low energy window, you'll reread the same paragraph 5 times and still send something clunky. Do it in a sharp energy window and it's done in 10 minutes and actually sounds like you. Stop spending your premium energy on bargain bin tasks. And more importantly, stop context switching constantly. Jumping from a high-focus strategy document straight into answering 6 quick emails, then into a Zoom call and back to the document creates what researchers call attention residue, a concept studied by Dr. Sophie Leroy. When you switch tasks, a chunk of your cognitive attention stays stuck on the previous task. Before you know it, your brain isn't just tired, it's choked with leftover residue from 20 different mental gear changes, and you feel like you're wading through wet cement. Group your tasks, protect your sharp windows, match the energy to the output. Energy isn't only about avoiding exhaustion. It's also about deliberately creating things that replenish you. That's why you should be building your week around your priorities, not everyone else's demands, because a week can be incredibly efficient, but still be a terrible week. So take an honest look at your typical week and ask yourself, where is the time for you? Where is the fun? Where's the movement? Where's the connection? Where is doing absolutely nothing? Where's the thing you've been saying you want to do when I have time? Some of that you have to actively choose, but some of it just needs room to happen at all, which is exactly where margin comes in. In episode 11, we talked about margin, the critical space between your load and your limits. Today, we put that into practice. Empty space on a calendar is not wasted time, it's capacity, it's breathing room. I want to challenge you to build 20% flex directly into your weekly schedule. Flex is the space for life being life. It's the buffer for when a traffic jam happens, when a meeting runs over, when a family member needs an urgent hand, or when you simply need 15 minutes to sit in your car in silence with a cup of coffee before stepping inside. When you schedule yourself to 100% capacity, any minor disruption causes a catastrophic domino effect. But when you hold 20% as non-negotiable flex, an unexpected curveball doesn't ruin your day. It just gets absorbed into the buffer. Imagine if your week was designed to support the life you want rather than simply accommodate everything you're already doing. Redesigning your week isn't about cramming 17 more productive habits into your days. That's counterproductive. It's about doing less of what drains you so you actually have capacity for the life you're working so hard to build. Here's your prime power move for this week. Grab a piece of paper and write down the major blocks currently occupying your week. You don't need a minute-by-minute log. Nobody needs an entry for every trip to the loo. Just the big chunks: work, family, exercise, screen time. Whatever's actually eating your calendar. Next to each block, mark it with one of 3 symbols. A plus sign for things that give you energy, a minus sign for the things that drain your energy, and a neutral 0 for the stuff that's simply necessary. Now look at your minus signs and ask yourself one direct question. Why on earth am I giving this thing so much prime real estate on my calendar? And to be clear, some of those minuses aren't optional. That's not you failing to prioritise properly. That's just real life. Start shifting those high-value tasks into your best energy windows. Group your admin and deliberately protect a little bit of flex space. And don't just stop at cutting the minuses where possible. If you circle something in your plus column, put it back into next week on purpose. That's the whole shift right there. Not more time, not more discipline, just designing your week for energy, not exhaustion. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, Melissa, I don't even know if I'm just operating on low energy or in full-blown survival mode, take my free Thriving, Striving or Surviving quiz. It takes 2 minutes, shows you exactly where your energy is leaking, and gives you a clear focus for what to fix first. The link's right there in the show notes. Next week, we're asking a big, honest question. Are you living someone else's idea of a good life? We're talking about shedding external expectations and redefining what a prime life actually looks like for you now. Thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to catch you next time. Remember, your prime life is calling, so go grab it by the love handles. If today's episode gave you something to think about, the biggest favour you can do me is a quick written review on Apple Podcasts. Head to helloprimelife.com/review. Takes 30 seconds, and it's genuinely how other women find this show.